53 49-year-old alien ship bought for $10. A human mechanic becomes emperor. Starships of every shape and size crowded the docks, their owners shouting prices, boasting about rare tech, or arguing over scraps. For Jax, it was paradise. He loved machines, any kind of machine, and he had a knack for fixing them. Cheap, fast, and surprisingly well. He moved past a hovering vendor selling glowing fuel cells and a group of alien traders haggling over plasma cores. His eyes scanned the junkyard-like lot, looking for bargains. That's when he saw it. At first glance, it seemed like an ordinary pile of scrap, hidden behind larger ships that had better presentations. Its hull was scratched and rusted, covered in alien symbols he didn't recognize. A faint shimmer hinted at ancient alloys, but the layers of dirt and corrosion made it almost invisible. The tag in front read, "Ancient Alien Ship, $10." Jax rubbed his eyes. 10 credits. That was less than a single meal in the hub's food court. Most traders ignored it, calling it useless, but something about the ship called to him. He had fixed broken engines before, but this felt different. $10, a voice behind him said. It was a gruff alien, green-skinned with 4 arms. It's worthless scrap. You'll break your hands trying to touch it, Jax smiled. Or I'll find something no one else can. Ignoring the alien's warnings, he approached the ship. Its surface was cool under his fingers. The markings were strange, unlike anything he had seen before, lines that glowed faintly when he touched them, like the ship was alive in some way. Jax didn't know what kind of ancient civilization built this, but he had a feeling it was important. He called over a hovering drone and scanned the ship. Surprisingly, some of its systems responded, tiny flickers of light blinking in the dark. That shouldn't happen. The ship was supposed to be dead for thousands of years. "You're really going to buy that?" asked a human trader. "You don't even know what it is." "Exactly," Jax said. "It's a mystery, and mysteries are fun." With that, he handed over 10 credits. The alien trader barked in disbelief but took the money. Jax grinned and started towing the ship toward his repair bay. The hub's crowd whispered and stared. Some aliens shook their heads. A few were curious. When the ship reached his small workshop, Jax carefully rolled it inside. Dust and rust covered the floor beneath it, and its panels creaked when he pushed the hull. He opened the main hatch. Darkness greeted him at first, but as he stepped inside, tiny lights blinked on along the walls like stars awakening. "Okay," Jax muttered. "Let's see what you're hiding." The cockpit was small but advanced. Alien symbols covered every panel, each glowing faintly. Jax pressed a button and a holographic display shimmered to life, showing strange maps of star systems he didn't recognize. He tried to read the symbols, but they weren't from any language he knew. Yet the ship seemed aware of him. He reached for another control and a soft voice filled the cockpit. "Custodian recognized. Access granted." Jax froze. Did you just talk?" "Yes, you are the custodian," the voice said. Its tone was calm, almost wise. "Authorization granted. Systems online." "Navigation functions active." Jax blinked. "Custodian, what does that even mean?" The ship didn't answer, only projected a star map in front of him. A blinking point in the distance seemed to call him like a beacon. He leaned closer. "Why me?" he whispered. "I'm just a mechanic." A pause. Then the ship projected a strange holographic figure. It was humanoid but unlike any species he had seen. Its armor shimmered like liquid metal, and its face was obscured by a helmet with glowing eyes. "Only one with the right mind can operate me," it said. "A line of rulers existed before, but they failed. You were chosen by reason, creativity, and spirit." Jax laughed nervously. "Chosen by a spaceship. You're joking, right?" The figure tilted its head. "I am not a joke." "Custodian, your path is beginning. You may either leave or follow it." Jax ran his hands through his hair. This was insane. He was supposed to repair ships, not become some interstellar hero or ruler. Yet something inside him stirred. a sense of curiosity, a thrill he couldn't ignore. He spent hours examining the cockpit. The ship responded to his touch. Panels lit up as he approached, systems hummed softly, and the holographic figure occasionally gave advice or explained how certain engines and drives worked. Jax realized that this was no ordinary ship. Its technology was advanced beyond anything humans had seen. It was alive in a way, symbiotic with its operator. Night fell outside his workshop, but Jax didn't notice. He was learning, experimenting, discovering the hidden power inside the ancient ship. With every panel he touched, the ship seemed to respond, almost approvingly. Finally, he tested the engines. The ship lifted slightly, hovering above the ground. Not at full power, but enough to show that it worked. A thrill shot through him. He had just moved a 5,349-year-old alien starship. That thought alone was incredible. Over the next few days, word began to spread in the hub. Aliens whispered to each other about the human who had bought a ship for 10 credits. Traders watched him curiously. Some tried to offer him enormous sums for the ship, thinking it must be some ancient treasure. Jax refused. He didn't want money, he wanted answers. What was this ship? Why had it waited for him? And most importantly, where did the blinking point on the star map lead? Late one night, the ship's holographic figure spoke again. "Custodian," it said, "the path is not safe. Many will come seeking the Star of Ages. They will not understand you, but they will desire your power. You must prepare." Jax swallowed. "Prepare for what?" "The galaxy has been waiting for one like you. Those who underestimated humans will come to test your mind, your courage, your creativity. You must learn quickly." Jax realized something important. No one had ever believed in human potential like this ship did. He was just a mechanic, yes, but that didn't matter to the AI. What mattered was his ability to think differently. Over the following days, Jax worked tirelessly. He repaired systems he didn't understand, rewrote alien code with his human logic, and tested engines that hadn't flown in millennia. Each success made the ship more alive, more responsive, more aware of him. One morning, as he adjusted a strange gravitational stabilizer, he noticed a blip on the ship's sensors. A small alien scout, silent and cautious, hovering nearby. It was observing him. "Looks like they already know something," Jax said. The holographic figure nodded. "They will come," it said. "Some for trade, some for war. You must decide your path." Jax clenched his fists. He didn't know what the future held, but one thing was certain: he would not run. He was human, resourceful, curious, and somehow, inexplicably, the galaxy had chosen him. As the scout vanished into the distance, Jax looked out at the stars. One of them blinked in the pattern the ship had shown him on its map. The same point that had drawn him in from the beginning. "All right," he whispered. "Let's see where this goes." The ancient ship thrummed under his hands, ready. After more than 5,000 years of silence, it had finally found the mind capable of awakening it. And Jax Rylan, human mechanic, had no idea that buying a scrap ship for 10 credits was about to change not only his life, but the future of the galaxy. The galaxy was bigger than Jax had ever imagined. Stars stretched endlessly across black skies, planets spun silently in their orbits, and alien worlds thrived with strange life forms. Yet for all its wonder, the galaxy was also dangerous. The ancient ship he had awakened was powerful, yes, but it made him a target. It started small. Traders whispered about a human who had awakened a 5,349-year-old alien vessel. Merchants passing the hub brought messages from far systems, some curious, some cautious, and some downright threatening. Jax read the alerts on the ship's console. Most were from alien warlords who assumed humans were weak, easy prey. The first encounter came sooner than he expected. While testing the ship's engines near a gas giant, a small squadron of sleek alien fighters appeared on his sensors. They surrounded him, sleek hulls glinting in the planet's sunlight. The lead ship sent a message in a deep, vibrating language. The holographic figure in Jax's cockpit translated it immediately. "Surrender the Star of Ages. You are unworthy." Jax laughed nervously. "Unworthy? You've got to be joking." The AI spoke in a calm tone. "Custodian, they underestimate your species. Their expectation is weakness. Use it." He didn't understand what it meant yet, but he had a plan. Most alien ships relied on predictable power systems, algorithms, and brute force. Jax was different. Humans were adaptable. He would exploit that. The alien squadron advanced, firing beams of energy. Jax dodged instinctively. He manipulated the ship's gravity generators, warping the space around the fighters. Their attacks bent strangely, missing him completely. He was improvising, creating patterns the aliens had never anticipated. The ship hummed under his hands. Its AI guided him gently, teaching him how to manipulate ancient alien technology with human creativity. Within minutes, the alien squadron was confused, unable to keep pace with a single human-controlled ship. Jax felt a rush of pride. "Who's unworthy now?" he muttered. The aliens retreated, leaving behind stunned silence. Jax realized something important. Humans could succeed not by strength but by intelligence, intuition, and adaptability. Word spread. Across star systems, rumors of the human and his ancient ship grew. Some feared him. Others admired him, but more enemies began to prepare. They thought that once they overwhelmed him, the Star of Ages would belong to them. Jax had no illusions. He wasn't just fighting for survival. He was learning what it meant to be human in a galaxy that thought his species was insignificant. Back at his workshop orbiting a quiet planet, Jax continued to explore the ship. The AI taught him more about its systems. Weapons were not just for battle. They could manipulate gravity, shield planets, even disrupt communication networks. Navigation systems were linked to a network of wormholes long forgotten. Jax began experimenting. He built something the galaxy had never seen, a ship that could move unpredictably, almost like it had a mind of its own. Each innovation was human, using logic, instinct, and improvisation, not following a pre-programmed alien routine. Then the second encounter came. This time it wasn't a small squadron. A war fleet, dozens of ships, arrived from a neighboring star system. They were determined, and they assumed a human could never control an ancient vessel of such power. "Custodian," the AI said, "their intent is hostile. Strategy is required." Jax nodded, already thinking. Fighting directly would be suicidal. Humans weren't stronger, but they were clever. He opened the ship's sensors and scanned the enemy formations. The fleet relied on synchronized movement, rigid protocols, and predictable patterns. Humans, he realized, could exploit that. He activated a gravitational pulse from the ship. It bent light and space, creating illusions that made the fleet misjudge distances and positions. The alien commanders panicked as their formations crumbled. Jax used the ship's AI to project decoy holograms of himself, appearing in multiple places at once. Beams of energy passed harmlessly through illusions, while the real ship circled behind the enemy. The fleet tried to retreat, but Jax wasn't done. He manipulated energy fields to block escape routes temporarily. Then he projected a message to the enemy commanders. "You came for power. You failed to see the mind behind the ship. Humans think differently. Retreat or learn." It wasn't a threat, it was a lesson. The fleet slowly withdrew, astonished. Across the galaxy, stories of the human who outsmarted dozens of alien warlords spread like wildfire. Jax felt the weight of responsibility. He had won, yes, but the galaxy would not forget him. More fleets would come. More enemies would assume humans were weak and then be surprised. He returned to the ship's core systems. The AI began revealing secrets. There were coordinates to hidden star systems, ancient weapons, and artifacts from civilizations long extinct. Each discovery reminded him that humans were just beginning to reach their potential in the galaxy. Then came a curious development. A delegation of alien scholars arrived, not to attack, but to study him. They wanted to understand how a human could awaken the Star of Ages. They will test you, the AI warned. Some with riddles, some with science, some with diplomacy. Humans are new, but you have unique capabilities. Jax welcomed the challenge. He had never faced enemies like these, yet he felt confident. Human adaptability, intuition, and ingenuity were unmatched. Even the ancient ship had acknowledged it. The scholars asked him questions about the ship systems. They expected him to fail. But Jax, using logic and imagination, solved complex engineering problems they had assumed required centuries of study. His explanations were simple, human, and elegant. The aliens were astonished. "It is remarkable," one scholar admitted. "Your species thinks differently. You are not inferior, perhaps superior in some ways." Jack smiled. It wasn't arrogance, it was validation. Humans were underestimated, yes, but underestimated minds often surprise the galaxy. Over the next weeks, Jax traveled to uncharted star systems using the ship's hidden coordinates. Each system contained relics, technology, and knowledge long forgotten. Some were dangerous, with unstable planets, rogue asteroids, or remnants of alien war machines. But Jax approached every challenge like he approached a broken engine, carefully, creatively, and with confidence in his human abilities. In one system, he found a planet with an energy core that could power his ship for centuries, but it was guarded by a dormant defense grid. Jack studied it for hours, analyzing patterns, testing responses. He didn't destroy the defenses. Instead, he rewired them subtly, making the planet safe for colonization while keeping the system intact. The AI commented, "Custodian, you are applying human creativity. No ancient species achieved this level of balance. You are exceptional," Jax laughed. "I just call it thinking." He realized something important. Humans were not just survivors or fighters, they were innovators. They could take imperfect tools, broken systems, or even ancient technology and make something better. In that sense, humans were not weak. They were unpredictable, adaptable, and, above all, clever. But Jax also understood danger was growing. Reports came from distant systems. Alien factions were sending spies, scouts, and emissaries. They assumed that a human in control of the Star of Ages could be manipulated, bribed, or defeated. They were wrong. Humans didn't follow predictable patterns. They created new solutions. One night while plotting his next course, Jax received a holographic alert. A massive alien fleet was approaching, far larger than any he had encountered. This time they were serious. No illusions, no small tests. They came for control of the ship. The AI spoke solemnly. "Custodian, this will be your greatest trial. They will not expect your ingenuity. Use it." Jax leaned back in his chair, thinking. He wasn't the strongest, and he wasn't a warrior in the traditional sense. But humans had survived because they were clever, resourceful, and adaptable. That would be his weapon. The fleet appeared on the sensors, hundreds of ships forming an intimidating wall of steel and energy. Jax smiled faintly. "All right then, let's see how humans do." He activated the ship's advanced systems. Engines hummed, energy fields flared, and gravity distortions warped space around him. The fleet fired, but every shot missed, bent by the human-controlled ship. Jax created decoy holograms, manipulated energy flows, and altered enemy sensors. The fleet panicked, their tactics failing against something they could not predict. As the battle ended, the fleet retreated, utterly defeated by a single human pilot and a 5,349-year-old ship. Across the galaxy, the story of the human who outsmarted hundreds of alien ships spread. The lesson was clear. Humans were not weak. They were ingenious, adaptable, and capable of mastering forces far older and stronger than themselves. Jax looked out at the stars, the ancient ship humming beneath him. He had survived the impossible, outwitted the strongest, and discovered the limitless potential of human creativity. But he knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, enemies would grow bolder, and challenges would only increase. Yet one thing was certain: humans, underestimated for so long, were beginning to show the universe what they could truly do. And Jax Rylan, human mechanic, was leading the way. Jax Rylan sat in the cockpit of the 5,349-year-old ship, watching the stars pass by like rivers of light. The galaxy had changed since he first bought the ancient vessel for 10 credits. Stories of the human mechanic who controlled the Star of Ages spread like wildfire, and wherever he went, he inspired awe, fear, and curiosity. But admiration was only part of the challenge. Alien rulers, now fully aware of his capabilities, had begun to converge. Some sought alliances, others tried intimidation, and a few prepared for war. Yet Jax, the mechanic-turned-galactic adventurer, had learned the most important lesson: strength alone did not win battles. Humans had another weapon: their minds. The first sign of danger came from a fleet from the Malvorian system, a race known for ruthless strategies and iron discipline. Hundreds of ships filled the sensors, their formations precise, almost mechanical. Jax felt the thrill of challenge in his chest. He wasn't afraid, he was ready. "Custodian," the ship's AI said, its voice calm and measured, "they will test your decision-making. You may need to be more than clever. You may need to be a leader." Jax nodded. Leadership was new to him, but humans had always led in their own ways, through vision, empathy, and ingenuity. He studied the fleet, noting their predictable patterns. Then he projected a holographic message directly into the enemy's command channels. "I am Jax Rylan, human custodian of the Star of Ages. You will not harm my ship or my allies. If you wish to avoid destruction, listen carefully." The Malvorian commanders laughed, assuming a single human could not threaten them. But Jax had something they didn't expect: a human mind capable of turning every weakness into strength. He activated the ship's advanced systems. Shields shimmered like liquid metal, energy fields bent space around the fleet, and decoy holograms of his vessel appeared at multiple points. Every attack the Malvorians made was dodged, misdirected, or absorbed harmlessly. But Jax didn't just fight, he spoke. Using translations provided by the AI, he addressed the fleet directly, not with threats but with logic. "You believe strength and fear win battles," he said, his voice calm yet firm. "But intelligence, creativity, and cooperation are stronger than weapons alone. Humans survive not because we are stronger, but because we adapt. You can fight me or you can learn. The choice is yours." There was silence in the fleet. Then one of the Malvorian commanders hesitated. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but they were also impressive. He realized that fighting Jax would only lead to unnecessary loss. Slowly, the fleet began to withdraw, leaving behind stunned silence. Jax breathed a quiet sigh of relief. This was more than victory, it was a lesson. Humans didn't just fight battles. They changed the way others thought. News of this reached other parts of the galaxy quickly. Alien factions began sending envoys instead of fleets, curious to understand how a human had gained control of such an ancient, powerful ship. For the first time, Jax realized he could unite civilizations not with fear, but with respect and intellect. Over the next months, he traveled from system to system, meeting alien leaders, studying forgotten civilizations, and teaching through example. He never demanded obedience. Instead, he solved problems, repaired ancient technologies, and shared knowledge that had been lost for millennia. Everywhere he went, he demonstrated one truth: humans were capable of extraordinary things if given the chance. In one star system, a rogue AI had gone berserk, threatening to destroy a planetary civilization. The alien rulers had tried to shut it down, but the AI was too advanced. Jax approached it like a mechanic approaches a malfunctioning engine, carefully, logically, and creatively. Within hours, he had rewired the AI, stabilizing its systems and saving the planet. The aliens were astonished. You saved us," one of them said. "And you are human," Jack smiled, wiping grease from his hands. "I guess humans do think differently." Word of his deeds spread even further. Ships carrying merchants, scholars, and explorers began to follow him voluntarily. They wanted to learn, to trade, to see the human who had awakened a starship older than recorded history. Jax realized he was not just a mechanic anymore, he was a symbol. Then came the final challenge. A coalition of alien empires, the most powerful rulers in known space, decided that a human should not control such power. They sent an armada of fleets, weapons, and mercenaries, believing that sheer numbers could overwhelm him. They assumed he was just a clever but inexperienced human. Jax watched the fleet gather on his sensors. Hundreds of ships stretching across light years, all prepared to destroy him. Yet he felt no fear, only clarity. Humans had never survived by brute force. They survived by thinking, adapting, and working together. He projected a plan. The ship's AI hummed, processing his unconventional strategies. "Custodian," it said, "your plan is unorthodox, but humans have always surprised the galaxy. Proceed." Using the Star of Ages' full power, Jax manipulated gravitational fields, warped space, and created holographic decoys across entire systems. Enemy fleets collided with illusions, misjudged distances, and misfired. Communication between enemy commanders was scrambled, and rivalries within the coalition caused confusion. Jax did not destroy ships unnecessarily. He disabled them, redirected energy flows, and created safe escape routes. He demonstrated that power did not need to mean destruction. Intelligence, strategy, and morality could achieve victory without unnecessary loss. As the battle reached its peak, Jax sent a final message to the coalition leaders. "You came to conquer a human, yet you see now, humans adapt, humans survive, and humans lead differently. Join me, and together we can explore, understand, and protect the galaxy. Resist and you will fail. The choice is yours." The coalition, witnessing human ingenuity firsthand, hesitated. For the first time, they saw a species they had underestimated not as weak, but as exceptional. Slowly, leaders began to communicate with Jax, offering alliances instead of war. He had done more than survive. He had changed the way civilizations thought. Humans were no longer insignificant. They were respected, admired, and sought after as equals in a galaxy older than their species. Finally, Jax convened the leaders in a neutral system. He did not demand titles, resources, or obedience. Instead, he proposed cooperation. He offered shared knowledge, protection, and exploration of uncharted systems. Aliens listened, realizing the wisdom of his approach. One by one, they agreed. Humans would lead not through fear, but through ingenuity, fairness, and vision. The Star of Ages thrummed beneath him. Its AI spoke gently, almost proudly. "Custodian, the galaxy recognizes your mind and spirit. You are Emperor." Jax laughed softly, shaking his head. "Emperor. I'm just a mechanic." The AI projected a vision of the galaxy. Star systems connected, civilizations cooperating, peace and discovery thriving. Jax could see the possibilities. He realized that being Emperor was not about ruling with power, but guiding with wisdom and creativity. He piloted the Star of Ages toward uncharted space, a symbol of human potential and ingenuity. Behind him, the galaxy watched, inspired by the human who had achieved what countless civilizations could not. Uniting species, surviving impossible odds, and showing that humans were capable of greatness beyond imagination. Jax Rylan, human mechanic, custodian of the Star of Ages and emperor by choice of the galaxy itself, smiled as the stars stretched endlessly before him. He had started with a ship bought for 10 credits, curiosity, and a love of machines. Now he led a coalition of civilizations, proving that humanity, young and underestimated, could rise to heights no one expected. And as the Star of Ages pulsed with energy under his hands, Jax whispered to the AI, "Let's see what humans can really do." The galaxy would never be the same again.